seems that it's time. It is Wednesday, April 17th, and today we're going to be visiting the XR Women Research Corner grand opening with Sarah Barker. But first, we are recording. Your avatar voice text messages may be shared publicly. Let's face it, they're going to be. Please mute if you're not speaking and respect our speakers' opinions. They may not necessarily reflect those of XR Women or our leadership. So be sure to raise your hands to ask questions and be sure to connect with others, collaborate, and help make the future better for all through technology. That's what we're all about. XR Women would like to thank AMXRA for becoming a sponsor, a bronze sponsor. This is a wonderful initiative that's showcasing, it's a journal on XR for medical focus, like hospitals and facilities and all that sort of thing. Really great initiative to actually kind of bundle everything all together in one spot for people because there's a lot of people doing research and a lot of people doing work in this area. And AMXR is pretty new. I think it was just maybe a couple months ago that this came out. So I'm very excited about that personally, as well as super stoked that they have sponsored us. We have other XR women sponsorship opportunities. There's opportunities for brand exposure, supporting diverse representation and intersectionality. You can see down here places where your logo could be, your messages could be. We have weekly events, museum and gallery, XR Women Awards. We're live on stage at AWE. More on that shortly. And we just want to tell you that XR Women is, we're everywhere. Every time I go anywhere, actually, these days at a conference, I run into quite a few XR women. And that's the way it should be. Let's all unite and get together and just really, really take it home for this industry. We have stuff in there, our Museum, our XR Women Museum, the gallery, research corner, Dong Datum Plaza, that's over in Engage, and this business showcase also over in Engage. Please do check these things out. Let us know if you don't know how to get there, and do join our Slack channel. We have other social as well. We have new designs, new t-shirt designs. Does anybody, Karen or Julie, want to talk about the new designs for a second?
I'll talk about the shop, and I can talk about the designs unless you want to, Julie.
Nope. Floor is yours, Karen. Go ahead.
Okay, okay. So we have last year, or was it in 2022, we had a design contest for T-shirts just to try some new styles. And we're hoping that folks will purchase some of these and wear them proudly at the Augmented World Expo and everywhere. But our two winners for the contest were Rajani Bayaneni and Cynthia Galvez. And we're very grateful to them for submitting their beautiful designs. And I'm going to put the link into the chat for the spread shop. There is a V-neck T-shirt, Celeste, and this is to one of the points I wanted to address here. When you go onto the shop, you'll see some examples of products with the designs on them. But when you click on them, you can change the color. It doesn't mean that something is just the color that's initially displayed. And there are a ton of products in our shop. So please have a look and, you know, get some XR Women merch and support us in that way, and also show everybody else that you are part of our community.
Yep. And also, the main purpose here is also buy a shirt and wear it to AWE. Like we'd love to have lots of these XR women shirts by both women and our allies walking around AWE and showing what how important our community is to the ecosystem. So thanks everybody for supporting. Thanks Karen for arranging, and thanks to our winners. I think there's some really cool designs, and we've got a few good taglines in there as well. So just some, the other designs are still available if you still want those, but switch it up a little bit. And I think these are pretty cool. So yeah, looking forward to getting mine too.
These are really cool. I'm just like staring at them, being absolutely captivated by the sort of magnetic fields kind of thing and the digital stuff and like beehive kind of thing. They're super cool. I can't wait to. I actually really want some stickers, you guys. So we'll have to work on that one. So XR Women It's going to be during our awards ceremony at AWE. Nominations are now open for Real World Impact, Innovation, and Trailblazer. Our deadline is May 1st, 2 p.m. Pacific. We also have an AWE discount code, 24XR Women D. Okay, discount. I guess that means, okay, 24XR Women discount D.
Yes, I think that is the code. Yes, it looks.
It just seems like there's something missing off the end there. It's like, okay. So there's a little bit of news from the week. Is AI flying past you? Eat the future, pay with your face. A dystopian trip to an AI burger joint. Is it really though? Because isn't this the same thing that Amazon did with the just walk out and you paid for it already? Kind of similar vibe. And we're kind of wondering like what will happen with stuff like this. Will these also flop, or will this be kind of the yeah, this is just what we do. You just walk into a shop and you buy stuff and you get that transaction. And we were discussing this internally that Amazon, when they did this with the shop, it just kind of left you feeling like you stole stuff. And nobody likes that feeling. So I feel like that's why it didn't go well. Because I like the idea of just grabbing your stuff and going. Many of us like self checkout, but I didn't like that feeling of, "Ooh, wait, what happened?" And I wonder if this is different because you're walking into this transaction. It's a little more clear, like, hey, I'm buying this burger. So it'll be really interesting. Feel free to send us any interesting news things on our Slack channel, get involved in these conversations. It's cool to see the ways that people are using AI and the way that they're using different new modalities to navigate and move around into this current world that we live in with the meta world that's being layered over top of it. And how's it all going to come together? It's going to be a fun ride until we get to the true AI spatial computing future. Coming up Wednesday, April 24th, XR Women Gallery presents Infinite Canvas, Celeste Lear, who, by the way, is also going to be like the DJ for AWE. I'm super stoked about that, Celeste. And Wednesday, May 1st, we have Nina Phelan, CEO of XRIO. It's going to be giving a Blender kind of a start tutorial. And there's a game for learning Blender that she's developed. Pretty exciting. And then later on, we have May 8th. This is going to be a session that I'm going to lead, and it's going to be a pre-gaming session for AWE. One of the things that I have discovered in my endless travel with conferences is that sometimes you ask people, "Hey, what are you trying to get out of this conference? What are you looking for? What are you trying to find?" And sometimes the answer is they don't know. And it's 2 months from now. Let's know. Let's all know what we want to get out of this conference. Let's all tell each other what we're trying to achieve, what story we want to put out there in this community, and how we can connect each other to opportunities and just cool people to work with and really, really make this incredibly powerful. This is going to be the be all end all conference because it pulls in all of these different factions of people who are working in the XR industry and spatial computing as a whole. Such an opportunity to meet new people, get new deals, just kill it. So that's the goal of May 8th is we're gonna strategize and we're gonna make sure that we know each other's stories. And when I'm standing there talking to somebody that you might want to know, I will know this and I could be like, "Hey, get over here. Come meet this person. Let's do that for each other. Let's help each other out." Okay, and then May 15th, Celeste Fett, I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, Virginia Museum of Fine Arts. Ooh, International Museum Day. That's exciting. And then coming up on May 25th, we have Mary Matheson's transforming documentary and filming with immersive technology. Ooh, that's fun too. So let's get started. Barker, sorry. Sarah Barker. I've known her forever and I just messed up her name. My apologies. Sarah is a research scientist. I don't have her introduction. I don't know who was planning on doing the introduction, but I have personally known Sarah for quite some time, and man, she's a sharp cookie. So I'm very excited about this XR Women Research Corner. I did get a little sneak peek of it, and I'm even more excited about it because it's very glowy and everything. So, Karen, did you have any words to say? Are we traveling on over there? What's the plan?
I think,
Yes,
can I
yes.
chip in or? Oh,
Yeah, sure. You can head on over to the stage, Sarah. And meanwhile, I am going to introduce you to everyone. Uh, and so I'm sure that a lot of people here know you. And so, you're no stranger, very involved member of the XR women community. And we're grateful for that. And Sarah, for those of you who don't know her, she earned her M.F.A. in film production from Chapman University's Dodge College of Media, Art, and Design. And she's an award winner, producer, director, and create an editor at Creative Media Hub. Her resume includes Technicolor and HBO, and she's taught audio, video, radio production, and performance for nearly 20 years. She is now in the dissertation stage of a PhD program in media psychology with an emphasis on media technology and innovation at Fielding Graduate University. She particularly is interested in exploring immersive technologies in education and meditation practices for mental health. Sarah is a longtime secular Buddhist and aims to bring meditation to as many humans as possible. And you may see that she hosts regular body scanning in VR sessions. And I'm sure would love to have you join her there sometime. So, with all that being said, Sarah, we're very glad to have you here today to show us the exciting work you've been doing. I can't wait for everybody to see it. So, you can take it away.
Thank you. Thanks, Karen. And thanks, everybody. And you know what? I'm just going to take a quick moment because I just want to put it out there. I have been an educator for a long time. But what's weird is that I'm also have extreme sensory sensitivity disorder. And right now, my stomach's in a giant knot and my heart is beating out of my chest. So I just want to introduce you quickly to a little exercise. I encourage all of you to do it right now in your real life. So even if you're in VR, especially if you're in VR, maybe just take a moment to drop your awareness into your body. And what I would recommend if you're sitting or standing is that you relax the front part of your body and tighten up, or I don't like the word tighten, just kind of adjust your posture in the back so that it's a little bit more erect, but the front is soft. And just try that out for a second. Right now I can hear my heart beating fast in my chest. This is how I was able to teach for 20 years and get in front of students, um, given my social challenges. So it's also what brought me to a PhD in media psychology. There's so much going on here. I don't have a lot of time, so I'll just try to cut to the chase here. Um, so the research library for me was, first of all, it's a love letter to you guys here at XR Women, because I just appreciate you very much, and you've been such a huge part of my education. I'm a novice. I'm a rookie. I learned I was a novice about life and about everything, and I learned that I wasn't an expert through Buddhism, actually through, and it doesn't have to be Buddhism. Actually, for me, I learned that I was a rookie about everything through a daily meditation practice. Getting my doctorate just reaffirmed what I already knew. I don't know shit. Excuse me. Got to try to watch my language. I don't know much. I would argue that none of us do, and I would argue that there's a really good argument for beginner's mind. So the other reason why I started the research gallery was to you know, um, encourage us to kind of look at what what people are doing in this space, and sometimes to even look at the hard things that we don't want to look at, right? Where maybe we want technology to be a certain way, but the data doesn't play that out. So I tried to create a story with this, and I'm sorry, I got to get off. I'm very chatty because I'm nervous. So I do actually have a presentation that I made on Canvas. I don't know how to get it up here.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Robin, can you please unshare your screen and then we will let Sarah share hers. All right. So, yes, so you can go to share screen, Sarah, and
oh,
share
great.
it from there.
Share.
And also, if you don't have your megaphone on, can you please turn that
Oh,
on?
sorry about that. I always forget
It's
about
really-
that. Share
we
screen.
can hear you, but
Where,
it's just a little more clear
where's
and
the, can you help me out with where the share screen is?
yeah, okay, if you when you're looking at the screen right in front of you at the
Yeah.
bottom right, the blue
Okay.
button.
Ah, the blue button. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wait, the blue button. There's a, okay, sorry. I'm trying to get to a blue button. I don't actually see a blue button.
Okay,
Um,
so it is, I will
no.
come down here and show you right here.
Oh, great. I'll just go where you are. Yeah, I don't see anything where you are.
You don't see you don't see a
No.
screen there?
I
Okay.
see a frame screen. I see a screen with the frame logo on it.
Yes, and there's not okay, I think I
Maybe
know what the issue is,
maybe
and I'm gonna
yeah,
change that right now. Give me
yeah.
just a
I think she
moment.
needs permissions. This happened the other day in one of the other events, and the button was missing for the people. So it just means that she doesn't have the right permission.
Yeah, I need to add her as an admin.
Oh,
So,
thanks. Well,
yeah.
I'll keep talking.
So
I
Sarah,
can talk all
which
day
address are you logged in?
once I get going. What was that?
Which address are you logged, email address are you logged into? If you can share that
Um,
info with me.
I'd
And
rather not, but not out loud because we're recording. But
no, that's okay. No, you don't have to share it out loud. You can share it with
oh,
me in Slack, and I'll
oh,
pick it up.
got you. Okay, great. Got you. Sure. Let me just find you in Slack. Okay. Roger that. There you go.
All right.
Cool. Well, yeah, just once we get over there, I'll some of the things I have in the slide deck here are maybe it's just a little bit of a bit of an introduction to research. I'm a total novice. I will hopefully, fingers crossed, be getting my doctorate this summer. But I'm very new to academic research. I'm just now coming off of my what for me has been a 5-year program. And so, when I came in, I I knew enough about research to know that as a college professor, that I had to teach my students how to cite their work. I mean, I come from a creative field, right? So when I got into teaching, in 2008, I had come off of a sound design field, and I teaching wasn't really something that I had any experience in, nor did I particularly have um, a lot of respect for the education system when I came in, for reasons that I don't particularly feel inclined to go into, because that's not where I like to keep my focus. Um, so I kind of had to learn how to do some things. And what was so great is that I had a lot of colleagues who helped me with that. And because I had a master's, I had also learned how to do that, because, you have to cite your work if want to, not get an F on your paper. So, but what I started to see in my classrooms, a couple things that brought me to, and just my back is turned, but I'm just going to keep on going until I can. Yeah, so I'll just keep on going. A
Yes,
couple
no,
things.
Sarah, you should be able to see the
Oh,
share screen button now, I think.
yeah. Thank
Okay.
you. Okay, choose. Select a tab to share. Sorry, we'll get there. Okay, hang on one second. Let me just get over to the thing. And I think I'm at the thing. So now I have to do this. No, this and this. Yeah. Okay. Sure thing. Yeah. So, anywho, um, let me just make this a little bigger here if I can. And I know you probably can't read this in VR, and that's okay. It's in a million places. It's in the frame, research. Sorry, I'm just trying to make this go
I
big here.
suggest you try the presenter view.
Is that good? Is that no? Not working?
Try presenter view, Sarah. Go to
I
present.
did. Okay, I'll try it on the frame. Let's see if I hit it up here, if it will do it. Gee. I am definitely trying to share it, and it is definitely not working. Well, if you're cool with it, I would much
Don't use
rather just
share,
not.
don't use share, use
Okay,
present. Use present, not share to the
I
to the
did.
left.
I did. I tried a couple things. Okay, yeah, it's just not doing what I want it to do. Yeah, I could try it again. How's that guy?
Yeah, and then presenter
Is that
view.
is that good? Okay.
There, yeah.
Did I
Now
get
you
it?
need to go. Now you have another window. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Present. Yeah. There you go.
Oh,
Got
we're
it.
good. We're good there. Awesome. 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 Okay. Wow. Sorry. Yeah. Cancel. Oh my goodness. Well, I don't know if you can see the presenter window, and I can't figure out how to get that off. So here, let's try this. If it's cool with you, can I just keep going? Because
You
I
have
would
another
really
window
rather just keep
open.
going. Great,
You have another
great,
window
awesome, awesome,
open,
awesome. I have it. Okay.
and so that's the one with the view that the audience should see. So if you navigate to that other window on your browser,
Other window. Okay. I have several windows open. Not this one.
a,
Okay.
a window, not a tab. I think it should
A
be.
window, not a tab. Oh my goodness, I don't even know the difference between those two. Okay. How's that? Is that right?
This will work. This will work.
Cool. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
I'll just keep on trucking. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure where I am in the thing here. There we go. Okay, you can kind of see something here. You wouldn't really be able to read this in VR anyway, probably, more than likely, because there's way too much text on the screen. But yeah, just to kind of let you know what you can expect when you get over there is there's a lot going on. There's 7 studies that are represented there, but I thought it might help you to kind of be able to understand the narrative if you kind of maybe have a sense of where my head was at when I was developing this. So again, if you can't see this, no problem. It's in frame. I mean, it's in frame to download. It's also in the Slack channel. There's a lot of different ways that you can access a slide deck. So one thing you'll notice when you get in there is that you'll see a version of me with shorter hair. Now this is an AI chat bot, but it's no different than ChatGPT. Okay, it is not infallible. One thing that you might want to do, and this is something that I love to do as a researcher, is I love to argue with ChatGPT, ask it to verify where it got its information from. I really love to challenge GPT and make it show me the goods, show me where you got your data. And so that can be a fun way to engage. And so maybe you see something here in the world and you're like, well, I don't know. I've read other studies. And maybe you can have a little fun with the Chat GPT, AKA Sarah B, the librarian that's in Frame VR. So that's one thing that you can do. You'll notice when you get in there to the welcome desk that there is an orchid on the table. And if you click that, that will take you to the XR Women website where you can go purchase all those awesome things like the clothing, by the way, AKA I have the hot pink hoodie and I freaking live in it. There's like stains on it now, so I'll have to buy something new for all. You can click on it's a black PDF. Okay, so it's just going to be like a rectangle, looks like a document that has a black background. If you click on that, that's a downloadable document with all of the references from the research that you find here today, so that you can go in and find out more information about the authors. You can, once again, by the way, I am a media psychologist almost. So all of this is an APA 7, which is what the American Association of Psychology requires of me when I'm doing academic writing. You can click on the portal, or you can click to the Go To tab when you get in there to visit the XR Women Museum, which we're in right now. And thank you, Jenna, so much for linking also to here, so that we can go back and forth if we want to. So when you get in there, and I'm not going to really talk to you about how to get around in VR Frame. I'll just kind of tell you how to, maybe some things to think about in terms of how to maybe navigate this particular space in VR Frame. So if you get closer to the walls, you will activate the images, and the images are screenshots of the open source research that, thank goodness, people like every single one of the people that you're going to see here today in the research library, because they were willing to open their research to the public. Everything that you see here is peer reviewed. We'll get to that in a minute. And it's free to you. You don't have to go pay for, believe you me, as someone who's getting my doctorate, I can tell you something, it's expensive. And it's important that we democratize research. It's important that we make sure that everybody has access to research. And so I just want to say that I greatly appreciate that these people have opened their research up so that everyone can have access to this research. So you can click on those text boxes. You'll notice in the text boxes that you'll see the study title. That is the name of the study as described by the authors. And the other text box will give you the authors of that study and also the publication year. You can click on the images and text boxes to open a direct link to the open source study. Again, thank you so much. My hat's off to you. That means you don't have to pay for anything. You can read the entire study from the literature review to the methods section to their findings, and you can really find out what is absolutely going on in science right now as it pertains to immersive technologies. And in my case, I'm a psychologist, so that's what I'm interested in. You can step into the highlighted boxes to trigger experiences, and I'm not going to say anything else about that for a reason. Like I said, I'm almost a psychologist. Click on audio players to trigger sounds, and that's all I'm going to say about that. And then you'll also notice that you can visit the newsfeed corner, and I won't say anything else about that. So how does this research corner actually work? Couple things that if you want me to put your stuff up there, and by the way, let me also say this: if you don't want your stuff up there, my apologies. If I see that it's open source and I read what it says about what they're cool with, then I just do it. And I make sure that I say where I got the information from. But if you see your stuff up here and you're like, I'm not cool with that, or I don't like the way Sarah presented that, just let me know and I'll take it down. I won't do it to your spec though. That's something that I won't do because I'm doing this on a volunteer basis. So everything here is peer reviewed and it's no older than 3 years. So that means that everything that you're going to see here has been reviewed by peers for accuracy, ethics, right? I'm really a stickler about ethics. It's been reviewed by peers for accuracy. And it's no older than 3 years old. And I think that's critical as well because we're working in a really rapidly moving field. Everything, as I just mentioned, probably noticed I get a little passionate about this. I get a little warrior-like about this. Everything is open source. So that means that you have access to all of this, unless your government keeps you from it, right? I'm just playing. Sorry, I forget that you got to be careful now. But seriously, you have access to this information. Everything here, is going to be in AI, AR, VR. It's going to be in those in that arena. And so if it's not in that arena, then I wouldn't be putting it in the research library. If you're kind of new to research and you want to have a little fun today, I'm really trying to get fast because I was hoping to get us over there immediately. I'm almost done. Maybe I just won't run you through a study because I had a couple of other cards here. I'll just say, we'll skip all those cards. I'll just say this really quickly. A couple things that you might want to know about when you get over there. If maybe you're and this is not to insult anyone's intelligence, please. It's more to say to people who've never perhaps read research before. There's a lot more than these 3 things here. But some fun things that you can maybe look at here that I always like to look at is, first of all, what's their hypothesis? So what problem are they trying to figure out? What's their people, when you're working in peer-reviewed research, you need to state your hypothesis, your research questions, right? So what are those? You might notice in my full deck that there's a couple studies here that I'm not going to have time to today, but you'll notice in the notes that I actually I pull out their hypotheses and their research questions, because that's how you get transparent with your audience, right? That's what I love about research, peer-reviewed research. You have to be transparent. The mechanism makes you be transparent today, anyway. So sample size, that's another great one to look at, not just size, but I like to look at the sample in general. Like, okay, were they male? Were they female? Were they non-binary? Were they Black? Were they white? Were they, Hispanic is still the word that's used in research, but where I live in California, Latinx is also used. All of this becomes more grist for the mill for research, right? Which is, again, why I love research. It's all beginner's mind. And of course, it's pretty important. And again, I'm going to speak passionately as someone who's very low on the autism spectrum. And I've had a lot of people tell me, quote unquote, how it is for me, right? That aren't. When it comes to this stuff, it's really important to think about people like me. and to know that we do exist. And so again, I challenge you. This is my kind of challenge, right, to everyone who's told me that what I'm experiencing, I'm not experiencing, right? Is that go look at the research. And so I put that research up for you here in the study in this room as well. You'll notice that I think it's number 6 or number 7 in the research corner. Actually, talks about how I exist, and it's a really good idea to be thinking about everybody when you're designing, not just you know quote unquote most people. Well, I want to get us over there, so I'm just going to stop right now, and I guess I'll just say that should we head over? Is that cool?
Yes, sure. And I'm going to get what I am going to do is if everybody gets ready, there are 2 ways to get there. I am going to try to pull up a portal onto the stage that you can click on to go there. But there's also a go to button at the top left of your screen, and then you can just click on that and head on over to the research library. So there's your portal. It doesn't work by walking through it, unfortunately. You have to click on it, but it looks like a portal. So have fun with it. I'll stay here until everybody gets through.
I know that it would be great if the XR Women leadership team, if I left room for questions. And so I think what I'd like to do now is just be quiet and let you explore. And if there's any questions, maybe just I'll maybe just hang out here at the desk or something and turn my megaphone off, so that you just maybe come and ask me if you have questions about any of this. And also know that I'm not the expert on these studies. The people who wrote these studies are the expert on these studies. And who knows, some of them might be in this very room. And if you are one of the people that wrote these and you are here, and you feel like, first of all, that you'd like to talk about your study, boy, we sure would love to hear it. Um, yeah, thanks.
That's cool.
So I've got my little megaphone off, and yeah, if you want to hear me talk, I can continue to talk, and hopefully, right, that I'm not everybody can't hear me right now. Is that right?
No, I'm going to hear you. I just wanted
You're
to thank
still
you
hearing
so
me.
much.
Oh, great. Okay.
So I just asked the research librarian, what is the meaning of life? And the
Oh my
research
gosh.
librarian said, oh, well, from my perspective as a researcher in virtual reality and AI, one might say that the meaning of life could be to explore, learn, and create, constantly expanding the boundaries of knowledge and experience, much like we do in the virtual world. What do you think the meaning of life is? Isn't that brilliant? I love it.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Yeah, and I did have a longer presentation. I guess I could also continue doing that if you would like it. What you'll notice here, a couple things I didn't get to. Maybe I better turn this back on. All the numbers here, they line up with that PDF of the references. And so if you see number 1 floating, and you were to go and look at that reference sheet, you'll see what the citation is for that study. For instance, number 7 is talking about body sway. It's a real. So if you head over to number 7, you'll see the image of the VR space that these researchers put their participants in. They were studying how Mozart, and it's playing over there for you really low if you want to go check it out and do it yourself. First of all, what's really interesting is that research has been studying body sway, right, in VR for well over a decade. And this is unconscious movement, right? That when we're moving unconsciously, and they've been studying this for quite a while. And so this particular research is looking at if you put in some audio, like Mozart in this case, and you play with the volume, right? Like maybe making it louder as they move or making it quieter as they're still, will that affect, correlate to changes in body sway? And so they present their hypotheses of what they thought it would, and they were wrong. Beauty of science, right? So you come in with an idea of what you want to do, and your job is not to prove that you're right. Your job is just to find out, right? Your job is to have beginner's mind. Your job is to go, wow. Like my dissertation, for instance, is I'm working with corrections officers, teaching body scan meditation, what's called uh, well, I don't want to get into all of that, but I'll just say that my job isn't to go in and say body scanning is right for everybody, especially for corrections officers, right? My job is to go, gosh, I wonder if this body scanning protocol could help corrections officers. Here's another question I have. I wonder if that could help with their how they interact with the incarcerated, right? So researchers begin with questions like these, and their job isn't to prove themselves right. Their job is to collect data. And I think, it's, sometimes as an educator, what I see is that we throw science out, we throw everything out, the baby out with the bathwater, as they say, right? Um, Stupid people in science have done stupid things, but we don't just throw out science altogether, full stop, right? So um, I think part of why I wanted to do this particular world is to as a love letter to science, as a love letter to research, and a love letter to researchers. And it's also a love letter to every single one of you out there who thinks you're quote unquote too stupid to be a researcher. No, you're not. I can tell you full stop, as someone who's taught community college for 20 years, I have never met anyone who couldn't do what they set out to do. And I think I have a lot of experience that I can pull from when I say that. So I'll just stop talking and let you explore. And I'll be up here at the info desk. And maybe it like if it's cool with everybody, I don't know. What's a good time for questions? Like I don't know how we should do that, but
Yeah, I think let's maybe I think you can just take questions at any time and maybe let people just wander around and come
cool.
back and ask questions when they're ready.
Okay, I'm gonna stop talking. Thank you for being here, and thank you, XR Women.
Thank you, Sarah. This is really awesome. I love this space, and I think it's amazing that we now have easy access to this research thanks to what you've put together here. It's awesome.
Oh, thanks. My pleasure. Hey. Um, for the recording, well, let's see. Gosh, I guess I would say as a researcher, I'm can't be in VR for more than 20 minutes. Um, but I love VR and I love its potential. So I would just say again, I just want to reiterate, that and again, I encourage you to go check out. I believe it's number 6 or number 7, and I really encourage you to really take a look at the most recent study that's come out in 2024 about neurodiverse populations, about people that are on the autism spectrum. It's a long, large spectrum. I believe that we have a tendency to pathologize people that are on this spectrum, not helpful. So I just really encourage you to take a look at that research and to maybe just always hold in the back of your mind, and again, that's what I love about research, is that if we go in assuming that we don't know everything, you're going to be a much better researcher and you're going to be a much better designer. Yeah, thanks. I think it's 7. Let's see. I'm going to walk over. Is it? I'm sorry. It's not 7. It is number 5. Should be at 2024, or maybe it's not 2024. Maybe it's. Well, there's a couple here. Yeah, it is. It's 5 and 6. So the
the criteria that you use to select the research that's here? You may have said that. I waited behind.
everybody knows where all of this came from. But if you don't want to have your stuff here, you can write me there. You can also go to I'm on my thing in here that hasn't been made available to all humans everywhere. Everybody should have access to it. I'm not saying that you're wrong to not have give people access to it. Not at all. Not at all. You got to make money, right? You wouldn't believe it if I told you how much money out of my own pocket I'm paying for my doctorate, right? So and then the third one is that's what I'm studying. But if it's AR, VR, AI, any of that stuff. And again, I'm not an expert, right? You'll never hear me say I am one. I'm not an expert in anything. Thank goodness, right? Then that's the criteria. Yeah, thanks.
Um, sure, and but
Thanks.
great. Yeah. And I really encourage you all to pop inside those blue squares and explore. That's where all of this will really start to come to life for you. And maybe you have a question for Sarah about something specific that you see in these different spaces, about the specific research that you see there. So pop on in, have a look.
Sarah, it's Rachel. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm really good. I'm so happy to see you here and get to know your work so much better. And this world is so beautiful. Thank you
Oh,
for
thank you.
sharing it with us. Yeah,
Oh,
and
my
it's awesome.
pleasure. My pleasure. It's nice to see you. Yeah, it's nice to hear your voice.
Yeah, I've been out for a little while, but I think I'm back. I was, dealing with life.
Yeah, life, right? Life happens.
Yeah. But thank you. This is so great to catch up. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you. Yeah, please feel free to, yeah, if anybody has any questions, again, I'm not an expert on the research itself, but I'm happy to answer any questions about what I'm working on, or if you just want to chat, I'll be here. And yeah, I'm around.
Thank you so much. I'm just going to bounce. Thank you very much for today.
Thank you, Kelly.
Take
Kelly
care.
Faye.
Thanks so
Take
much.
care.
Take care. Thanks.
I said,
Oh, okay. These are things that I found with my studies, and also as a research librarian for the XR Guild. Going in and looking at the intersection of psychology and this technology, because that's my focus is psychology. Yeah. I know. I hope so. I'm what I'm working on is just for anybody who's interested in this. And again, please forgive me. This is not to insult anyone's intelligence, not at all. Okay, but it's just for maybe people who are maybe a little bit new to the concept of research. In research, you have quantitative and you have qualitative. And I'm doing a qualitative study. I'm using what's called a phenomenological framework, and you can certainly look that up or hit me up in the research library, and I'll be happy to not only tell you what it is, but lead you to some open source research that you can look at to find out why I chose phenomenological research. And I think it really aligns pretty well with quite frankly, my most significant secondary diversity dimension, which is my Buddhist practice. And so yeah, I have to get published. When you're a PhD, you have to get published. You don't get a doctorate if you don't get published. That's kind of how it works. So yeah, I hope so, man. It's been a long haul. Feels far away, but I'm gonna keep chipping away at it. Oh, thank you.
hi, Sarah. Daniel from View3D.tv here.
Hey,
Thank you so much for your presentation and what you've put together here. That's just amazing work.
thank you.
And I was wondering what led you to be involved in VR and what your perceptions of VR were before you actually started using it, and how your perceptions changed once you actually did start using VR.
Oh, thank you for the question. I'm going to call out someone. I hope they don't mind. I'm going to call out two someones. I hope they don't mind. I have a couple of really dear, dear friends that I've known for, it's hard to imagine, but over 2 decades now, I believe, if I was to really think about the math. And they're award-winning immersive VR winners. And I experienced one of their events called Gumball Dreams. And and I'll just say, just because I am who I am and we're not all the same, I wasn't feeling so great afterwards, because I never feel great after I'm in VR ever, from what I've discovered so far. And I've been in a lot of things. I'm not the potential is obvious, so when I saw that, I was, I, I'm a really big fan of N=1. I think anybody who practices what I do usually is. I immediately started using myself as an experiment to try to figure out why. And I can go into that if you want to. Like, for instance, Lost Recipes. They just did something very, very wise. And I just wrote up about it on a Immersive Learning Network showcase, because when you're dealing with neurodivergent populations, specifically people that have, sensory sensitivity, like, like I do. And it's why I don't like to go to bars. I don't like to go to restaurants. I don't like to be around crowds. If any of you saw me at the Immersive Summit, you probably saw me jet immediately as soon as I could get away from all the humans, because my body was shutting down, too much stimuli, right? So what Lost Recipes got right is and again, you can look that up. It's in Meta. You can get a free trial, blah, blah, blah. If you go in there, you'll notice that if you go into settings, and again, I'm a sound designer, understand? So I get a little bit geeky here. Robin, where's Robin at? Woot, woot. But, and Celeste, woot. But what I appreciated about what they did is that they split off all their audio tracks. And for the sound designers in the house, you understand that, when you're sound designing, that you break off, they're called elements. You break, or stems, if you really want to get geeky about it. You separate your ambient sound, your sound effects, your dialogue, and your music. They're all on separate tracks. I'm not going to bore you with why we do that. But what I appreciated about what they did is they understood why movies do that, but on a whole other level. And they allow the user to go in there and to turn off each individual audio stem. And it was the first time in 1.5 years now of being in VR that I actually felt like someone had made something for people like me. That I wasn't forced to listen to loud ass music that I hate, that I wasn't forced to look at a bunch of shit moving. Excuse me, sorry, we're recording. I wasn't forced to be looking around at a bunch of stuff that was going really fast, and meanwhile my heart's pounding out of my chest. Or that there's no spatialized audio, and so there's just a cacophony of sound in my ear, and all I want to do is get the hell out of there immediately. I think it's important for people to understand that that's what we experience, right? Sensory sensitivity. And I don't even know if I answered your question, but did I? I don't even know. But yeah, what was your question?
Well, no, that's a very interesting reply. That's great advice for us that are designing, yeah, VR environments to make it selectable in terms of audio and maybe even video as well. Um, and what other elements make you uncomfortable in VR that you wish designers would make adjustable?
I think the designers are starting to get it. I want to call out Robin Mulder and Grockett too, because Robin got it. Um, Lost Recipes got it. I think that designers are starting to realize that not everybody likes a bunch of stuff going on all the time. And when you're dealing with, not just from a psychological perspective, not just people that are, on the autism spectrum, it's just to understand that we're not all the same. You know, typically people that are on the spectrum, even very low on the spectrum, are also experience extreme introversion. And I just think, here, I also peer review on these things. And the feedback that I give developers is, when are you going to start bringing in psychology? Because humans are psychological beings. And one of the things that I like about research is that, like for instance, I can't even run my study until I pass it through an IRB. Why? Because I'm experimenting on humans. That's why. So I think if we really want to say we're ethical, then we need to be ethical. Yeah. Yeah. I hope that answers. Yeah. Thank you.
He had another part of the question that I was curious to hear is like, what was your impressions of VR before you got into it, and then what was it? What was the reality like after you had been experiencing it for a while? So I think that's something that everybody has that moment of like watching people do stuff in VR and going, "What is happening?" and then getting in themselves and going, "Oh, that's what's happening."
Yeah. One of the things that I've been studying a lot is what Kathy Moya talked about last week, which is how do you onboard people? Well, the reason why people aren't coming on is for psychological reasons. And I really encourage people to look at an article, a study that just came out with my faculty advisor, Dr. Skip Rizzo, as well as Brennan Spiegel, where they actually did a study on adoption and what the problems with adoption are. And I'll tell you right now, they're all psychological. So I think to answer Deirdre's question, when I came in, I try to approach everything in my life from beginner's mind. It's part of my Buddhist practice. So I came in just kind of going, I don't know. Because I find that my life is much better when I approach everything from, I don't know. So I went in there. It was emotional. I would say that, for instance, with Deirdre's, the Ferryman Collective's work, and because I haven't been to other people's immersive live theater work in VR except for my friends here. But my experience of their work was when I got sick was when I had to play the games. That bummed me out. So I just stopped playing the games, and that was the beauty of it. And what I also want to say is, if you're in immersive theater, there was something very cool that Steve and Deirdre did, and this is really critical from a psychological perspective. Um, oh, I'm so sorry. Somebody has a hand up. My apologies. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Karen.
No, no, no. Go ahead with what you're saying. But
Oh, okay, great. Great. This is, we really are psychological beings, right? So one of the things I appreciated about what Steve did in particular, because I don't want to have a spoiler alert, but he was playing the lead character. Let's just say that he was my prime guide for this particular story that I was experiencing. It was live theater in VR, right? And so, although they had gamified the experience for people in the lounge prior to the game starting, which I thought was, that's really savvy, right? That you're waiting for people to show up. You don't want them to be bored, so you gamify it. Awesome, right? Um, the problem is with people like me, if we don't get it, we get really, really frustrated and we get pissed off. And what I loved about what Steve did, and I'm not going to speak for him, but he might have picked up on it. I don't know. I was getting pissed off and I was getting annoyed. And he immediately responded to that. I sensed that he could respond to it. He said immediately, "Hey, you know what? This is just a game, man. I don't have to do this. Let's go over here." He redirected my attention to something else. That's brilliant. So I think, oh, and I'll stop there. Oh, Trisha says she has to go. Trisha, go for it. Maybe she's
Space.
already
I
gone.
love what you're doing um, with the psychology aspect of VR because I think you're right. Not enough people are doing research in VR. The impact on the human brain, our emotions, and our physiological makeup. I think that there's a lot we still don't know, and I applaud your research.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
I really loved your talk at XR Women and your artwork, which is awesome.
Thank you so much. Nice seeing you. I have to run. Bye, everyone. I'm
Bye.
going to come back later.
Bye. Nice design on the world, Sarah. That being able to like walk into sections and then have things show up, and it sort of like steps you, one step at a time into different sections of the research. I think it's really clever, and it's also really beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
agreed,
that.
agreed. Yeah.
Yeah, this was great. Thank you so much for sharing all this.
Oh, yeah, my pleasure. Thank you, Helen.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and I'll just say, yeah, if you go to I Have a Question, I've linked it to the I Have a Question in this world. I've linked that to the Slack channel. So if you put a question in here, it will alert me in the research channel in Slack. And so I would say if you're excited about this corner, it would be a really good idea to get on the Slack channel. Highly recommended. So, yeah.
Yeah. Sarah, can I just ask you about that because I actually am not seeing the Research Corner channel in my
Oh,
in my list.
isn't that interesting? Well, I guess I'll have to figure out why
Maybe,
that
Did you
is.
you created it itself?
I did. Is that what it is? Is that
Okay.
why? Okay.
It might be. I don't know if an admin needs to create it, but we can look at
Oh,
that later. But I tried to. Yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. Yeah.
okay, great. Yeah. Whoops, sorry about that.
Mhm.
I
No
was
worries.
hoping it would be available to you all before today. Whoops.
Yeah. We'll get it going.
All
We'll make
right,
sure.
right on.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, among here is, I mean, all of this research is interesting, obviously. So, you know, how, what do you think is the most fascinating piece that is
Oh,
displayed here?
oh, well, I think all of it's really cool for different reasons. Like for instance, I'm going to come over here to uh, Genevieve Smith Nunez's work. What I loved about this work, I was introduced to number 3 here through the Immersive Learning Network. I mean, I could just sing such high praises for every single piece in here, but since this is like the low hanging fruit because I'm standing right here, I'm going to go here. But I'll just say that all of it's amazing. And what I love about what Dr. Smith Nunez did here as an educator, as an adult educator, specifically working with community colleges, right? So specifically, and in Los Angeles, right? So specifically working with students who usually are the first person in their family to go to college. Most of their parents, English isn't their first language, right? And so, needless to say, I have a really soft spot. And what I love is that Dr. Smith Nunez took something that is typically very challenging in my experience of working with students for students and kind of use the affordances of AI, not to mention, a VR learning space like this, right? That you can depict data graphically. And so I think it's a great way to show students who maybe have, and again, I don't know anything about data either, and I'm going to stand up here and pretend to know what any of this is about. This is not my area, right? But even when you look at this word, right, a form of secondary computation analysis, that's a problem with research, isn't it? It's all that language that's like, huh? And it intimidates people. So what I think is that what Dr. Smith Nunez here did here is that she's made this accessible, right? She's using the affordances of these immersive technologies to make difficult things that we typically learn in school that maybe are cognitively challenging. I think one of the things we really get wrong in education is that learning is easy. Learning is absolutely not easy. Learning is a cognitive load. And so, I think that's why it's important. And I'm sorry, I'm all over the place here. One thing that's up here, um, another one that I would recommend is the one that talks about using serious games. That's another passion point for me is gamification and education. You don't just make gamification for gamification's sake, right? There should always be a reason for design, always, right? So it's not about just dropping in fun little widgets and toys and bells, which the research also shows doesn't work for everybody, and in fact turns off people, typically neurodiverse people. That there needs to be a method, right? There needs to be a method to why you're making the decisions that you're making. And so, I appreciate that they're talking about, using gamification or serious games with neurodivergent people. I also appreciate that, hey, guess who they're asking? Neurodivergent people. That's pretty cool too, rather than people who aren't neurodivergent. And that's another thing that I love about research, right? Is that, and qualitative research in particular, I'm not relying, what do I know about being a corrections officer? Nothing. I was in the Army. Okay, I was in the Army. That's why I understand certain psychological aspects of that particular career, right? That I won't go into. I won't bore you with the details. But I don't know anything, about. So anyway, I'm going off the rails here, but yeah, I could say something about all of these. Yeah. Any other? I know we're going over, so I can hang out.
Yeah. No, that's great if you can, Sarah, so others can ask questions. I think I'm going to need to run off, but remember that this space is open for you to visit, and you can get to it through the XR Women Museum. There's now a button on the entryway hall, and it's also present in the Go To menu. And I'm sure Sarah will be happy to share the direct link. And so it's a space that you can come and explore anytime on your own, and talk to the bot, which I've done. It was fun, and yeah, really, I'm grateful to Sarah for putting this together, and hope you all will make full use of it.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, so Sarah, as long I need to go, but add,
Thank
you
you,
know,
Karen. Thank you, Karen. And just before everybody goes, I just looked into it, and you just have to add Research Corner to your Slack channels. So it is there. You just have to join the channel, and then the conversation can continue.
right. Okay, I see it
Yeah.
now. I see it
Yeah.
now. Okay,
So
got
if
it.
you go into
Yeah.
the Slack channel, everybody, and join Research Corner, that's where Sarah can continue to take in your input. And,
Uh-huh.
you can obviously share any research there that Sarah will continue to monitor. Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for
Awesome.
coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, what a great session. This is so exciting.
Oh, thank you. Well, thanks for the opportunity. And yeah, I can hang out for a bit if anybody, has any more questions. I'm around.
All right.
Well, I personally need to drop off. Thank you